With all legal cases involving Trevor Bauer cleared, the former Cy Young Award winner comes out against a woman who accused him of sexual battery. Bronny James had surgery after his summer cardiac event, and LeBron James snuffs retirement talk, says the Lakers are now Anthony Davis's team. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is October 3rd, 2023, and I can't begin to tell you how big the pile of news is that we have to get to. Word to your moms, we're here to drop bombs. We got more news than the Bible Scout Psalms. It is a crazy amount of news. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. Because, man, you got to have at least an opinion on something going on today. Before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Orlando defeated Angel City FC 1-0. This could sting a little bit for Angel City. Both teams went into the match in 7th place in the NWSL. Angel City has only 2 matches left to secure a spot in the playoffs. Meanwhile, today, nothing. It's as if God is telling me, hey, stupid, just get to the news. So I will be that guy. I will be stupid. Let's get to the news. Former Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer reached a settlement with the woman who accused him of sexual battery back in 2021. It settles all matters between the two. All lawsuits, including Bauer's lawsuits, and also, as you might recall, the criminal allegations against the former Cy Young Award winner never saw the inside of a courtroom. Both sides are claiming that they did not pay the other. The catalyst for the settlements is apparently that the woman got some money from her own insurance company. So I'm not here to make jokes about this, because obviously these are two people who love them some lawyering up. What I can tell you, Bauer had an audience on social media prior to these allegations. The guy had a bit of a reputation as an online troll. That is what made him such a controversial signee by the Dodgers in the first place. So now that the legal matters are resolved, the dude posts a clip where he accuses the woman of concealing evidence from his team of lawyers. Among the evidence, Bauer is claiming that the woman texted a friend, quote, next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers, unquote. Now look, I can't prove the text that Bauer was reading came from the woman. I don't have her phone, and I'm not a forensic scientist. What I will tell you is that what Bauer read sounded extremely scandalous. Friends allegedly insinuating to the victim or alleged victim that she should go get the bag, and Bauer was worth over tens of millions of dollars. He also showed a clip that appears to show the woman in bed with Bauer in the morning. Bauer appeared to be asleep. The girl is smiling, and she doesn't have any marks on her face or any marks on her neck that would be consistent with allegations of being strangled. He is claiming that this clip was taken the morning after the two had sex, where the woman said, quote, it went too far, unquote. I don't even know if the timeline is true. I don't. So we put all of that over here, and we have to say, where are we? Well, Bauer is pitching in Japan, and he still has his fans. There's no doubt. Before these allegations came out, I was one of them. I acknowledge that. Hell, I was a fan of Julio Arias before he got arrested. But when Bauer was arrested, and this is not out of fandom, this is out of basically journalistic ethics, I took great care not to claim Bauer did anything illegal or that the woman was in the wrong either. Because if Bauer is correct in his allegations, he had a major league career stolen from him by an extortionist. That's not good. But I haven't seen anyone, aside from Bauer's legal team or the social media mob, say that Bauer's counterclaims are right. I don't know. I don't know if they're right. I don't know if there's more chicanery involved. What I also can tell you is that Trevor Bauer made a lot of enemies back when he was in Major League Baseball. Again, he was an online troll. He made an enemy, theoretically, out of the commissioner of baseball with all kinds of accusations against him. Now, Bauer is free at the moment to sign with any major league team that makes him an offer. But I'm extremely skeptical the Dodgers would do that because they lost tens of millions of dollars on the guy the first time around in the first place, even though he was never convicted. Why would the Dodgers make that risk? Now, if you're a Bauer supporter, and frankly, I'm not. I'm not. And I'll tell you why in a moment. You might ask yourself, why did the lady drop the case without getting anything for Bauer? Doesn't that validate his claims as well? To which I say, that's why I don't convict a person online. And it's also why I'm not trying to give you any hot takes now about either him or the lady. But would you at least agree with me on the following statement if you are a Bauer supporter? If a girl that you barely know asks you to choke her during sex, shouldn't you just pull out and run like hell? You don't know her. Why would you do that? I would run buck naked down the street if that were the case. And I mean that. I really would. I've seen plenty of homeless people whip out their penises on the streets of LA. That's a hell of a lot easier to get away with in a court of law than a sexual battery allegation, right? So again, Bauer is pitching in Japan. He's making money. Yes, he may have lost his major league career. He got tens of millions of dollars from the Dodgers for literally doing nothing for a year and a half. So it sucks for him if he's telling the truth. Absolutely, it sucks for him if he's telling the truth. But I don't know if I want to shed any tears for the guy either. He should have exercised better judgment. You have to have an idea of who you're in bed with, guys. And if he's wrong, then he's just making a mountain of allegations against it would be gross. It would just be gross. It's unfortunate. He still has a career. It just happens to be overseas. The day after any regular season ends for a sport, it's called Black Monday because a bunch of coaches, managers get fired. Obviously, a bunch of MLB managers are looking for work now. Here is a name that you should keep in mind with each additional job opening. Dodgers first base coach Clayton McCullough, who interviewed for the Mets job last year and was also a manager in the Toronto Blue Jays minor league system. Dodgers coaches have been hired for other managerial vacancies in the recent past. Other franchises do that because they're trying to replicate the Dodgers model, and of course they fail. Chris Woodward ran the Texas Rangers for a couple of years, for example. One option, consider the San Francisco Giants, who are run by former Dodgers general manager Farhan Zaidi. And besides that, he hired Gabe Kapler, who was in the Dodgers front office. Might he do that a second time? Over at USC, Bronny James intends to play for the Trojans basketball team this year after suffering cardiac arrest during a practice in July. Look, we already knew that, right? What we didn't know is that LeBron James' son had surgery. That's a plot twist. That's a plot twist, having a scar somewhere on your chest. Quote, Bronny is doing extremely well, unquote. Now that's from his father, LeBron. Quote, he has begun his rehab process to get back on the floor this season with his teammates at USC. The successful surgery that he had, he's on the up and up. It's definitely a whirlwind and a lot of emotions for our family this summer, but the best thing we have is each other, unquote. Now, LeBron James, the family man, and LeBron James's family has been extremely mum about their son. They want to control the narrative, which, by the way, is their right. I make no bones about that. Absolutely. But we didn't know the kid had surgery. We didn't. We knew he was seeing specialists and getting treated. But surgery? That's a plot twist. And this matters because the more involved that procedure is, Anything could theoretically be a surgical procedure. Do you have a stent? That was a surgical procedure when they threaded it up into your arteries around your heart. Do you have a pacemaker? Surgical procedure. Did you have your sternum smashed open for open heart surgery? Do you see what I'm getting at? The more involved, the bigger the risk. And while I respect the need for privacy, but without knowing what the young man went through, that is some scary stuff. If you recall, the issue was determined as a congenital heart defect. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that a surgeon has to sharpen his favorite scalpel and start slashing away, but it is troubling. Training camp opens today for both the Lakers and the Clippers. It is also year 21 for LeBron James in the NBA, who is now the oldest player in the league with the retirement of Udonis Haslem. Now, with so many years comes alleged wisdom. Alleged wisdom. So James, for example, told the scribes he is no longer the face of the franchise. He handed that mantle over to Anthony Davis. He's also continuing to lobby the franchise to retire Davis's number. Davis, on the other hand, would not participate in this coronation. Quote, "I think this is the Lakers team and I play for the Lakers," unquote. That's what Davis said. Now, of course, a secondary question is how many more years that LeBron can go. He did in fact consider retirement at the end of last season. Now he's saying, quote, "I got a lot more in the tank to give," unquote. So let's get to the upshot with the 17-time NBA champs for this season. This roster, with the exception of James, is super duper young. They are also super duper deep, and they made the conference finals last year. It seems like only a year ago where I was sketching out Darvin Ham's playbook for you guys on a notepad in a crappy motel in Omaha, Nebraska. Quote, "We have, top to bottom, what we feel is a highly balanced, skilled, athletic, younger team of guys that have logged a ton of NBA minutes. We can surround both James and Davis with these players who are coming in eager to contribute, eager to show that they can impact winning," unquote. That's from Coach Darvin Ham. Quote, "That's going to allow us to be able to be more efficient with James's game-to-game minutes," unquote. Now, Davis also said his goal this year is to play all 82 games. We know that is not going to happen, but at least this year, the Lakers' depth permits multiple options for the inevitable Davis injury. There's Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood, for example. I also want to start with something that is very important to me. Just like cut it out before the season begins. Every day, every single day online, you can go and hear about the Lakers who are allegedly going to make a blockbuster trade. And let's quash that immediately. Because the Lakers will not get a third superstar. They do not need a third superstar. Because when James got hurt in years past, they couldn't find a suitable replacement for him on the bench. Because they trashed their depth in order to get Russell Westbrook to be that third superstar. And he never was. The Lakers, therefore, would suck whenever James was hurt, whenever Davis was hurt. So no, give me the depth. They are not going for a third superstar. Kill any rumor that you hear for a big three in LA. Meanwhile, over in Clippers camp, Kawhi Leonard is insisting that he has the right to play hooky. You might recall the NBA has instituted rules that could penalize teams for going too far with the load management, and load management is synonymous with Kawhi Leonard, let's be real. So while Davis is at least giving you this song and dance about playing 82 games, Leonard is telling the scribes, quote, "No league policy is helping me to play more games," unquote. Now, to be fair, Leonard has had legitimate injuries as he's aged. He missed an entire season with the Clippers due to trashing his anterior cruciate ligament in his knee, one of his knees. But the dude hasn't played 60 games in a season since the Obama administration. That's a while. So Ty Lue, the coach, also pushed back on the belief that Leonard takes days off just because he wants to. Quote, "I know there's a big thing, like our guys don't like to play or whatever, but that's not true. Our guys want to play," unquote. You're simply going to have to prove it to me first, coach. That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes I think we should play the unverified speculation card more often. I say this because yesterday I mentioned how Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert likely had more than a little cut on his finger during Sunday's victory over the Raiders. Turns out he broke his middle finger. But the bottom line is neither the Colts or Herbert thinks he will miss any time. The Chargers have a bye week this week, and they're very confident that he'll be able to go in week 6. The Nashville Predators plucked forward Samuel Fagemo off waivers from the Kings yesterday. We also talked about that. He was a second-round pick in the 2019 draft, but you have only so many years to make a reputation with the Ontario Reign before the NHL tells you to make a damn decision, right? Fagemo wouldn't have made the Kings this year anyway. The Kings' lines are mostly set, but the Predators, which do have a number of holes in their roster, they will have to keep Fagemo on their NHL roster for the entire year. If you are a Kings fan and you have heard of Samuel Fagemo, you might be sitting there saying, what the bleep? We like this guy. Why would you give up on a top prospect? Well, there is a reason. The belief is that if there are any holes on the Kings this year, if there are any holes for injury or for whatever, then Alex Turcotte and Alex Laferriere are better suited for a promotion. Yesterday, I spent a lot of time talking about Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua that I neglected to mention. Kyron Williams of the Rams rushed for his first 100-yard game against the Colts. So kudos to him. We've been talking about what a good pickup he has been this year, especially after trading away Cam Akers. Meanwhile, the Rams agreed that Stafford should be good to go against the Eagles on Sunday. Stafford had his hip bruised in Indianapolis, and it is official. Cooper Kupp will be practicing this week after missing the first 4 weeks of the year with a chronic hamstring problem. Galaxy manager Greg Vanney said their best player, midfielder Ricky Puig, is, quote, very questionable, unquote, to play at Seattle on Wednesday. And the following is opinion only. It is not that valuable. You may disagree with what I'm about to say, but I think the reason LAFC isn't scoring is because they play too slow. Maybe that's directly due to the lack of depth at midfield. The midfielders that they'd had for years, they knew where all the forwards were going to be. They could just fire off a quick pass. These are newer midfielders. Maybe they take a second or two longer to decide, and that second or two longer slows the flow of the offense. And aside from that, as you know, LAFC did send over a bunch of players to play overseas. Let me tell you how slow the LAFC offense has been. In the first 5 years that the Black and Gold existed, they were shut out a grand total of 19 times. This year alone, they've been shut out 13. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about what you think is the future for Trevor Bauer. Talk to me about the immediate impact of LeBron James and the Lakers, or Kawhi with the Clippers, or Bronny and the USC. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I'm James. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.